Hello and welcome to Our Year with the Ears, our daily vlog where we relive our year living in the Walt Disney World resorts in 2019. Today is day 297.
We woke up this morning very early here at Boardwalk, got ready for the day, and walked down to see that we were still early enough that they were doing the coffee service only right now. Breakfast is not open for another 5 minutes, so we kind of stood out there waiting, and since I don't drink coffee, I didn't have any. And once the doors were open, we went inside, grabbed breakfast, ate very quickly, and then headed downstairs to walk to Hollywood Studios. The reason we're going so early is they are doing those extra magic hours in Hollywood Studios still for resort guests, but it ends in about a week, and since we're here at Boardwalk, we decided we should go back and enjoy one more day before this ends. The walk over was absolutely beautiful. It's very early in the morning, not many people are out, so we had a really pretty walk. It's not super hot right now either, which is awesome. And when we got over to Hollywood Studios, they were testing the Skyliner before it opens in just a couple hours.
When we got inside the park, there was basically nobody around, which is partly due to the fact that extra magic hours start extra early. They did start at 6 a.m. and we were not here for that. So everyone who was in the park had kind of left the main area and gone on to the rides or gone into Starbucks. We didn't really want to ride any rides. We just wanted to explore the park and see what it's like here with hardly anyone in the park. So as we made our way over to Toy Story Land, we stopped in the animation courtyard where Little Mermaid and Disney Junior and Launch Bay are. Nothing in that area was open, so it was totally empty, which is still really strange to see a part of the park totally empty during the daytime. We walked on from there over to Toy Story Land, where we then found the people. They were all there apparently trying to ride rides. Toy Story Mania was up and running and only had a 5-minute wait, and we walked over to Slinky Dog and it only had a 35-minute wait, which looked like it probably wasn't actually even 35 minutes. It was a very short line. We went on into Galaxy's Edge, where the rest of the crowd probably is, and sure enough, that's where we found people. They were all over by Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, and the line for that was only 35 minutes, which really isn't bad. It's gonna be a lot longer once the park opens at 9 o'clock. So of course there were lots of people around taking pictures since there's such low crowds. Of course we got pictures with really low crowds during the previews, so we don't need to try and take any pictures today. We just kind of walked around Galaxy's Edge, made our way out the other side, and then realized that the Muppets courtyard area is also closed. There's nothing open over there, so there was nobody in there either, but we got a really pretty picture of the fountain, which wasn't just pretty because of Miss Piggy. It was just a really nice scene with nobody in there and a beautiful sky this morning. We kept going through the park and found out that the Jedi training that you can sign up for when the park opens actually opens up with extra magic hours. So if you really want to get in Jedi training, you could come during extra magic hours and get signed up early and beat the rush, which is really cool and really good to know. We headed across the park over to Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster and found something that we really did not expect. There were people waiting to rope drop Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy, and if you haven't seen Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy, I'll just tell you that it is not something you need to rope drop ever. It is the last thing on the list that you should rope drop. You can see it at any point during the day, and I actually recommend seeing it in the middle of the day because it's very cold in there. They keep it very cool, the air conditioning, so in the middle of the day it's a nice 15-minute break out of the heat. We realized it was getting really close to park opening time, so we headed up towards the front of the park to leave, and then we saw the crowd waiting to come in.
Yeesh. And
that verified our decision. We are very glad we're leaving. We're going to head back to Boardwalk where we have unlimited food.
We walked back over to Boardwalk and did have to pack up because today is once again moving day. So we got everything packed up, called Bell Services and asked them to transfer our luggage to our next resort. And then we went down to grab some lunch from the Club Level Lounge. While we were eating, we were talking about how we're going to get to Coronado Springs, which is our next resort. And we realized that if we were to walk through Epcot and get to the front, we can just take a bus over and we don't have to pay for an Uber. And we're all about saving money whenever we can. So we did just that. We walked through Epcot, decided to stop in a Mouse Gear because Robert cannot miss an opportunity to shop. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm a sucker for Christmas merchandise, so I was really willing to stop too because I love seeing all the new Christmas merchandise, and they had even more today than they did the other day. They had a super adorable Chip and Dale Nutcracker set, and I love them so much. And I didn't buy them at the time, but yes, we do now currently own a set because I fell in love with these the day we first saw them. They also had their new flannel set, which looks so warm and soft and comfortable. They have ears, they have jackets, they have shirts. I love this whole line that they've come out with. I honestly love all the sets they've come out with. I think they've done a great job on the Christmas merchandise this year. and I'm really sad I can't buy any of it, but I'm also very happy I can't buy any of it.
When we finally left Mouse Gear, we didn't buy anything. We went out to the front of the park and caught a bus over to Coronado Springs. When we got there, we checked in and our room was ready. So we were in the Grand Destino Tower, which is super exciting, and we had club level access. So we wanted to hurry up, get the room tour done, and then grab some snacks, even though we did just eat snacks when we were over at Boardwalk. So we went up to the room, took detailed pictures of the room, and did a room tour for Facebook and YouTube. In the room, it does sleep up to 4 people, and you can see you've got 2 queen size beds in here, and they do have some really cool uplighting on the headboards of the bed. Looks awesome in here. And then underneath the bed, they have raised them up so you have that under the bed storage to put your suitcases in. Makes a really big difference when you're kind of limited on space. And if you'd like to see that entire room tour, it is linked down in the description below and up there in the corner.
As soon as we were done with that, we did head down to the lounge, we grabbed a snack and a drink, and then headed downstairs and caught a bus to Disney Springs because today is really exciting. Character Couture, which is basically Disney's adult Bippity Boppity Boutique, was doing free sessions at Disney style. You just had to be willing to wait in line. Well, I'm willing to wait in line if that means I could be part of it, and so we headed over to Disney Springs. They did have a virtual queue set up, so I got in the virtual queue. They said it might be about an hour. I was like, again, willing to wait because this is completely free. I'm very excited about it. So we walked around Disney Springs. We had nowhere particular we were going because at this point we're just waiting for my appointment. I did get the text, headed inside. Now we had the option, they could either do your hair or they could do your eye and lip makeup. Well, I asked them to do my eye and lip makeup because tonight we are going to the Halloween party as Jack and Sally, and I try to do my makeup, especially for like these characters and stuff, but if I can have a professional do it, I'm definitely gonna have them do it. So I chose to do the eye and lip makeup. I had an amazing stylist who even added a scar because I told her what I was doing and I was dressing up as Sally tonight, which was super sweet of her. I think the makeup turned out awesome. They did a great job and I had a really nice time talking to her. As soon as that was done, we did take a bus back to Coronado Springs because we don't want to miss dinner. Again, free food, can't miss that.
When we got up to the club level lounge, they had several different options, one of which was shrimp paella, which was delicious. I was so happy to see this. I'm a sucker for paella anyway, so that was a great option to have. And then the second thing they had that was kind of the main dish were crab cakes, but they were plant-based crab cakes, so they were like crab cakes. And I did try them. I tried to be, adventurous and taste them, and they did not taste like crab cakes.
It was an adventure.
They tasted like crab cakes, and I was not a fan of those. They had lots of little hors d'oeuvres here, like the ham and melon that's really good. I also liked the hummus, and the tomato bread was also really good. Lots of different options and lots of vegetables here as well. One thing I will say though is there weren't really any good options for kids if they didn't like the main dishes, and all the kind of hors d'oeuvre type things were really adventurous tastes, I feel like, for a kid, so definitely not the place for a picky eater.
We enjoyed trying different foods tonight as well as figuring out what we liked and getting more of that. Once dinner was over, we did head down to our room. We called Bell Services for our luggage. After they brought it up, we got ready for the Halloween party. We are dressed up as Jack and Sally tonight, so we looked awesome when we went back down to the club level lounge for dessert. They had one of my favorite desserts ever. They had chocolate mousse Mickey tarts, which are amazing. The outside shell is chocolate, the inside is chocolate. This is like the perfect dessert, and it's shaped like a Mickey head, so it's even more awesome.
I would argue that it's not the perfect dessert though because they didn't name it Mickey Mouse. I still stand by that. It needs to be called Mickey Mouse.
They also had a strawberry one, which I really think needs a bow. Like if you're gonna have a Mickey one, you should have a mini one because this one's pink.
That's fair.
But they didn't ask for my opinion, so I guess that's that. They also had several different types of cookies. They had some little snacks as well as macaroons. As we were leaving the club level lounge after we had dessert, I realized I didn't open the door enough, and Robert's fingers actually did get smashed in the door. But because he's wearing these gloves, his fingers didn't get smashed, just the gloves. So we had to take a funny picture with this because once it happened, it was the funniest thing to see.
I mean, I just put my hand out to catch it and it didn't really make sense because my fingers were longer and yeah, it just didn't quite work, but it did make a really funny picture. We caught a bus over to Magic Kingdom and we went to go in for the party. I had some issues with my ticket because apparently my fingers didn't quite work. I'm gonna get a blue.
It can't sense it, but I think if you do that through your glove, your real finger.
Jack's not getting in.
And since we were dressed like Jack and Sally, you know we're going to meet Jack and Sally tonight. And we did time it just about perfectly, where when we got to the park, the Booty-U Parade was just coming down Main Street, and that is the perfect time to get in line for Jack and Sally, because during the first parade and during the fireworks is the shortest wait time for any of the characters. So we went inside and looked at the line for Jack and Sally, and we couldn't actually see the line. So we asked the cast member and said, how long is the line? She goes, well, we don't know exactly how long, but it's definitely under an hour, which is super exciting. So they gave us one of the cards that they autographed ahead of time, because they don't do autographs in person. And we headed into the very short line for Jack and Sally. It ended up only being 30 minutes to get up there, which is crazy because at the beginning of the party, it's always a 2 to 3 hour wait. And we just waited 30 minutes to see Jack and Sally. And it was a great experience meeting them, especially since we're all dressed up.
We absolutely loved meeting them. They both loved our costumes, and so we took pictures all together. Then I took pictures with Sally, Robert took pictures with Jack, and then we took pictures of the two of them. The whole experience was awesome. The queue is actually decorated too, which is a lot of fun to see when you're going through. Although, because they're meeting where Tinkerbell normally is, there are some pretty fairy lights and some flowers in there too. Kind of ruins the ambiance a little bit, but it's still really cool that they took the time to decorate because everyone usually waits so long in these lines. After we met Jack and Sally, we walked out the door, and now the fireworks show has completely ended. So it seemed like every person in the park was leaving Magic Kingdom. It was crazy. And this is really what we've been trying to share, is that after that show, everyone just leaves. You still have an hour and a half of the party. You paid a good amount to be here for this Halloween party, and yet so many people leave. So that's the best time to get stuff done. If you're willing to stick it out, be there the whole time, you'll get so much more done that last hour and a half.
After we made it all the way to the hub, we also turned around and left the park, but most of the crowd had already left by the time we made it up there. We got back to the front of the park, and we did take some pictures with the pumpkins and the castle in the background. We are all dressed up. We've got to get a few pictures before we leave. We also stopped outside right by the train station and got pictures with the Headless Horseman. And after we got those pictures, we did head back over to a bus back over to Coronado Springs, and that was the end of our day today. So we'll see you tomorrow
For our Year with the Ears.